Precious women of valor, precious men of valor, good afternoon and welcome to Leadership Excellence for Women by Women.
And this insulin resistance is because
93% of juvenile victims of sexual abuse is by people they know.
Because you are illegal, you can even benefit from it because you're being a victim.
People paid for that.
Les roadmap that you had to follow.
Pouvoir payer donc le crédit bancaire qu'ils vont te faire.
Non, on pensait que c'était une Américaine qui allait venir. Donc nous, on était déjà braqués.
Wow. You know, that was actually the next question that I was going to ask you. We are getting to the second part, which is we talk about, you know, at the first part, women in a domestic violence relationship. Now we are going to get into women planning to leave the abuser. And I believe you talk about Ms. Stigliano. My question was going to be, how did you finally realize to leave your abuser? You already talked about that. Now, let's talk about the practicality of that, of leaving your abuser. How did you prepare your exit plan?
So God did, and I didn't know it. But 2 years prior, we were living in the back of a U-Haul because he blew all the money. And I was working, he was not. And I ended up interviewing with this woman who looked like Angela Lansbury, and she owned a real estate business and she owned a rental agency. And I was sitting there and God gave me a vision that I was going to own a rental business. And I looked at it and it was so foreign to me that I looked at it. I had no idea what it meant to me and I let it go. Here I am 2 years later in this horrific, and I'm pregnant. I'm 8 months pregnant. And I know he had already grabbed me and I went into back labor. He dragged me. This is not going to change. And it took me 3 years. I understand statistically it takes 7 tries before people actually leave. Some people it takes less. It took me 4. But I was so terrified of this man. And the other thing too was that everybody kept telling me to save money, save money, save money. And I was so afraid of doing the wrong thing before God, because here I wanted a successful marriage. And if I secretly save money, then I'm supporting divorce. I'm supporting something that's not of God. And then I got to the place where I realized it was the right thing to do, because he would try to take our daughter, and he had a major demonic spirit. So I had to walk spiritually and counter spiritually with God, fighting my battle. But I had to be in relationship with God for this to be successful. So I began to save money. The guilt that consumed me, I thought I'd have a heart attack just from the guilt, because I thought I shouldn't. But I honestly, thank God I did, because what he did to try to steal my daughter was unbelievably threatening, calculating, masterful, without God. It was so. I started to save money. The other thing that happened was I was 8 months pregnant. I couldn't get a job for the life of me. And I usually can get a job in a moment. And I never have a problem getting a job. And I couldn't get a job, and I'm getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it just so happened this particular day, I happened to open the paper and there was a position for a rental agent. And I was ready to have a baby. And that vision that God showed me 2 years earlier instantly came to me. I had no idea that this small little job, which allowed me to work out of my home. And there's so many jobs out there that allow you to work out of your home now, which is amazing. A lot of women have children and they're like, how am I going to do this? So I got that job, and it still took me a couple of more years because I had to save money, and I pretty much paid for everything that, all expenses, but I also saved a portion that he knew nothing about. And in 1 year, I think 1 year I saved $84,000. Thank God, because the lawyer costs and blah, blah, blah. There was also 2 books that I remembered that I really would like. So that was part of my plan, was to save money. And I was getting stronger because I was more in the Word of God. And I knew, because I finally made a decision. It's when you make the decision in your heart, you're going to do it. Now you're setting your plan. Now you have a goal and you have focus. I was focused, and everything I did was based on achieving that goal. And I had no idea every day what I was going to do, but opportunities came in front of me and I recognized them. Because if you're planning something, you know, you're looking for doors to open or close. You're just watching and looking for opportunities. And that's what I did. And I prayed like crazy. I got a lawyer, and it was God. I'm telling you, it was totally God who helped me out. And, but there were 2 books that I want to advise women to get. Now, I used to staff 12 Sears stores. I was interviewing all the time. I was a physician recruiter. I know what I'm doing in this. And now I've owned this rental agency, which is National International Professional Relocation. And I do some sales, but I really don't like the sales. I help people with these books because they really they change your life. So one of the books is called, which I sent you a picture of so that they can see it. You can either rent it at the library or you can buy it through Amazon. One is called Do What You Are, and the other one is called Discover What You're Best At. One of the books is going to show you your personality and how you function on the inside. It's going to help you see who you are. And then it's going to show you how you deliver yourself in society. And it's deep, it's rich, and you will not be bored. And it's going to help identify, you know, your gifts that you never knew you had. You didn't even know they were gifts. And because God gave us innate gifts. And then it helps you put those gifts from your greatest strength to your weakest, and the jobs that would be a perfect fit for you. And then they have all the jobs based on your education, whether you didn't graduate from high school, whether you got a GED, all the way to a doctorate. And I do not have 5 years of college, but no degree, but I figured I was at least intelligent enough as a bachelor's. And it pinpointed me at that the greatest position for me was being a physician recruiter, which ironically, that's what I was doing at the time. So both of those books will literally narrow down, just like a funnel. It'll literally narrow down. I believe it will narrow down the gifts God put in you that come so naturally that when you go on the job, you will be successful. And so say, for instance, it says you should be an engineer. Well, it will literally break down every kind of engineer there is and the 1 or 2 that you would be best at. There's 5 tests. You never want to cheat yourself because it's going to show you the way your brain works, what your strengths are, like either not academically, but whether you're industrial, mechanical, numerical, social, and then it puts it in an order, and then the jobs that use that perfect order that you're made from. They're phenomenal books to have. One is called Discover What You're Best At. The other one is called Do What You Are. And I'm trying to remember who the authors are, but I gave that to you. I can't remember this second.
Yeah, I will make sure to put it on top of the video so that our viewer can definitely get the book if they want to. We do want to also make sure that we get great feedback from our male panelist today, Mr. Haidara. We know that he had another commitment coming very shortly, so we still want to give him some opportunity to give us his opinion as a man. What would you advise for women planning to leave a domestic violence relationship?
Thank you, Bori, and thank Miss Jdws for the input she gave us. I think it's a great point she, emphasized. Once you sat down and think about your relation with your partner, and then you see no outcome, when you sit down and say, for how long I've been here and what I have accomplished, and then you see nothing, well, ask you a hard question. Did this relation take me forward? When finally you answer all those questions and you know there is no satisfying answer through this violent partnership, well, no one can just convince you or just make you leave, because the decision ultimately came to you yourself. You get to decide. Nobody else can just take this challenge from you. Nobody can just do this challenge at your place. So you might think sincerely and rightfully, it's time for me to go. Now, what makes you stay here? Sometimes you say, well, the guy might change. Maybe I got to give him all the opportunity, and then let's see if it's gonna work out. I think this is it's wrong for many reasons, because as Miss Jdws said, once that's the way you are, there is no way nothing can change you. As she said, and I like it very much, that core will define you. That's the way you are. And I invite all women sometimes to find this guy, regardless of his money, regardless of his, physical build, etc., who he is really. Once you find out who he is, then you can know surely that this guy will never change. His nature is violence, is controlling. I think it's a time for you to step out, because there is no hope. This is the way he is. Nothing can change it. Now, if you are in a relationship because you want a material life, and the guy is very fortunate, he got money, if that's the reason why you are in, then there is no solution for you, because as bad as you can be, you are not interested in love, you're interested in material, and he has it. So he will always control you, right? So if you are in the relationship because you want to build a family or by reason of love, that love, you can know that you will never have it, because that man is not somebody who can satisfy the way I intend to live. So it's time for you to walk away, right? So I think the ultimate decision came to a woman, whatever she wants to stay in, and what is the purpose for her to be in this relationship. Is it to build a family, or is for love, or for something else? Well, if it's for family relationship, if for love, you can find yourself that I will never have love with this guy. I can have money with him because he has it. I can have position with him because he's powerful. But love or family, spirit, I will never have it with you. So the decision belongs to you, and then you got to understand it's time for me to step out, because I will never find what I'm looking for with this guy. So it just remains totally in the woman's hand, the type of man she looking for, the type of relationship she's looking for. Once you don't have what you want, it does not take about 10 years for you to decide, or 5 years for you to decide. You should know exactly. Jdws said that before I entered this relationship, I was myself problematic, right? What is your part in this relationship being what it is? Solve your problem, solve your own part of the problem, The other part, you can solve it because he has to solve it. And once you cannot solve it, it's time to leave because you've done your part. And then I think the next step, you should know better than anybody what you should do. That's what I want to add up to this so bright and so interesting point Jdws just emphasized to us. Thank you, Mr. Boari.
Thank you so much, Mr. Haidara. This was really a blessing to have you in the midst of us. We know that you have another commitment, so we're not going to hold you. We will continue with our two guest speakers. But
Thank you so much.
I truly hope that this won't be the last time that we will have you on the platform, because we believe you have a lot to contribute. You have a lot, your part to do in this rebuilding of women and pushing us to move forward toward our destiny. Because when we become a better person, a better version of ourselves, we can be also a better version of being your soulmate, if I should say that. Yeah. So thank you so much. We want to thank you again for your time, and we wish you the very best and a beautiful afternoon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you are muted.
Oh, sorry. So thank you very much, Jdws. Thank you, Aida. I think we shall talk pretty soon again. Thank you, Ms. Boari.
Thank you so much. Miss Haidara, sorry, Mrs. OUALATE.
Yes.
How do you help women in the domestic violence? Do you operate only in the United States?
Thank you so much. First of all, just a quick answer to your questions earlier. For a woman to get out of the relationship, they have to know all the signs of the wills, what we call a will of power and GBVs, and gender-based violence language. So it will be very interesting for you to do that show regarding the sign. Yes. So briefly, they are like using intimidation, using emotional abuse, minimizing, denying and blaming, using male privileges, using economical abuse. So it is very, very important to go through each one of these. That we have to, educate ourselves about those signs earlier, and we have to have a self-worth. So nobody deserves, we are better, we know ourselves, we love ourselves better than anybody else's. So we have to have a self-worth. But it's not easy. It's, easier to say that than done when you are living. I know that. Thank you. Thank you so much. I will go back to the question now. Once reported, we will refer the survivor to the services for appropriate care. We remain attentive to them, and we try to help them for a social reintegration so that their financial autonomy, but with the difficulty of financial and technical support in this area, we will still be very limited. And we operate in US. In the US, it's a little bit, so far since we are based in New York, so we work closely with New York City Mayor office and doing a lot of sensitization because of COVID, there is not a lot of activities we can do on the ground, but we do a lot of webinars and we do a lot of sensitizations. We're trying to reach out to a lot of our communities. Since I'm from Mali, I was born and raised in Mali. So we do have a lot those communities in diaspora here in the US, but particularly for now, we are focusing in New York. That's where we are based. We have several programs in line with our mission. We offer assistance through, as I said, through our partner, mainly to victim survival of gender-based violence. These services are implemented through a program of supervision and support for women and girls survival of violence, GBVs, all kind through by identifying and referring them to the appropriate provider. A program to train and educate survival about their rights. social worker and groups in gender-based violence, meaning all the local GBVs actors on the ground. At this time, we must talk, So a program of information, awareness raising and education of the population and the different type of violence against women and girls. Raising awareness among young people to promote the potential positive masculinities. That's like not exhausted list of how we have been operating so far.
Thank you, Ms. OUALATE. And again, to our viewer, this is very, very deep, and we can't really touch on every aspect. Today, I will call it actually an introduction. And as stated earlier on, we will come back with a much more talk show to detail on each aspect of domestic violence. Now, we are going to get to the third section of our talk show today, which is women starting a new life. So again, we started by women living in a domestic violence, women planning to leave the abuser, and the third section is now women that have left and are starting a new life. Ms. STIGLIANO, how was it for you and your daughter to start a new life? How did you find the strength to keep pushing?
My girlfriend that had told me that I was married to a batterer, you know, she pretty much said to me, I was terrified to go on my own. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I could survive on my own. I think that was part of the reason I was also with this man. I thought, you know, I was going to be in real estate. I did not have my real estate license at that time, but I was going to pursue that. And he was a builder. He was a contractor. And what I'm trying to say is that I didn't feel like I had anything that I could do to survive. Mm-hmm. And now I had a baby. And I'm married at 39 years old, first time. I wanted a family so bad. It was my dream since I was a kid. And it just never happened for me. So letting go of this was huge. I did not want to let go. And I did not, even though my parents weren't perfect, my parents were together and they loved each other very, very much. And I didn't want to be without for my daughter, a father. So when I, you know, got to the place, none of it was easy. But she said to me, my friend said to me, they're both going to be hard. Choose your hard. And they're both going to be hard. Nothing's going to be easy. Yeah. One of them, they're both going to cost you, but one of them is going to give you better fruit than the other. And I just really hated that. It was like, you know, I think people go and stay in abusive relationships because they have a fairy tale. They have a fairy tale they want. And it's not turning out, and they don't want to let go of what it started out with, because usually it starts out good, it's romantic, it's sweet, they love you, blah, blah, blah. And you hold on to that and you think that, oh, I'll get it back. But oftentimes that's just the ploy. You know, that's what they give you to get what they want. Mm-hmm. And it's not coming back, especially if you watch the character over time, it's not coming back. The gift that you get to give, that you get to walk away with knowing it was not for nothing, was that you gave love. And it was up to them to choose love or to remain as they were. But I know for me, with every single thing I went through, God used all of it. And the greatest fear of my life was that I could not survive on my own. And out of it, God had me have my own business. I became the provider and I became successful, whatever that is, right, to somebody. But for me, I became successful. Mm-hmm. And I was helping other families. I was helping people financially in a lot of arenas. And I just know that God gave me, I held on to him with everything in me. I still do. I still do every day, because I can't do life without him. I just can't. And we had a rough time. My daughter and I had a rough time, but we were safe. We were totally safe, and God took care of us. And it's funny because it's a demon, you know, and that demon of intimidation, domination, manipulation, control ended up in my neighbor. It took me 5 years of praying her out, but she would call the police all the time. And so the terror, it was always like terror was trying to be at my door, fear. And I had to learn how to stand up and not be afraid. And it was interesting because I noticed that God uses everything, and he will never give his glory to another, ever. And so he used all of that because I was terrified of authority, because the authorities of my life harmed me. And that usually is happening to a lot of people who are in domestic violence, that they have not experienced good authority, and however they process that information, you know, they're in that situation they're in. And so I was so terrified. And then at the end, you know, the police would come over and I'd offer them, you know, a cup of coffee. I had no fear. The fear was completely gone. And even in my career, I had to go to court a lot because people didn't want to pay me. I was solo. It's amazing how, to this day, I've always wanted to be loved. I've always wanted to be married to a great man who would be a great companion for me, who would have loved my daughter. I still have not experienced that, but I will tell you, what I get from Jesus and my relationship with him, I could never find in a human being. And what I could have in a human being, which is the physical person there, that warmth, you know, being able to be hugged in their arms, I don't get from Jesus. But I get from my grandson, you know, we hug. And I have not had that. But guess what? I have eternal life. And God has blessed me so much. I would never, ever, ever give that up. Ever, ever, ever. And he helped me through it all. And I really am concerned because of the fact that I'm so disciplined to be in the Word every day. I never give that up because he's my lifeline. He's my soundness. He's my joy. He's my confidence. He's my everything. And every day, without fail, I get in the Word. And I even memorize chapters in case I had to get on the road. I speak them out. My heart for women who don't do that, I don't know how they find the strength in themselves, because it's a spiritual battle. And steal, kill, and destroy. The goal is to steal, kill, and destroy your life. And I want these women to realize they have incredible value, and that it's not their fault. It's not their fault. I don't care how many men they slept with. I don't care what they stole. I don't care what they've done. If they took drugs, God understands what happened, because coming out of the womb, that was never their intention. You know, you look at your baby pictures and you go, oh my God, that little girl, so pure and so innocent. And now look at what happened in her life. God knows. And he loves you. He loves you. I look at my life and I marvel of what he forgave me for. And it is not minor. It's like sometimes I say, Apostle Paul, move over on the female side of you. You know, I never murdered somebody with, you know, physically, but the path that I was on was very destructive to my own life and obviously to others, even though I was not cruel and mean and anything like that. But I do believe that one of the things women stay for is they're so afraid they won't be loved and they won't have anything else. And it's not true. It is a lie you are believing. It is a complete it was a complete lie. And I went to this conference one weekend about 5 years ago. And when I walked in, this pastor looked at me and said, ask God what lie you're believing, and then ask him what the truth is he wants you to believe. Well, I never thought God would actually answer me, but I just kind of walked towards to go in the big conference room. And I walked in my head, I went, God, what lie am I believing? He said that you're alone. I couldn't believe he answered me. And I went, oh my gosh. And then I said, well, what's the truth that you want me to believe? And he said that you're never alone. I'm always with you, taking care of you. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I guess I want to leave that with women to please don't condemn yourself. You've already got somebody condemning you. You're not worthy of the condemnation. Get the help, get the counseling, get the support. And if you're not happy with your counselor, move on. Stop thinking there's something wrong with you. Be true. Love you the way you would want someone to love you. You've got to start loving you somehow. Find a place that you will love you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miss Stigliano, for your final word. Whew. You both have talked on the financial issue, the financial aspect that can also prevent so many women to want to find the courage to get out because they don't know what tomorrow is going to be. That's where I want to actually ask my next question to Miss W.a.l.a.T. How can viewers support your organization? Because you talked about it earlier on, that when women are getting out, you also, your organization help them also in some financial capacity. And we know in order to help, you need contribution. Let's talk about that. I believe when you and I talked before the talk show, you told me that once a year, you participate in the annual Tuesday giving in New York. Can we talk about it? And can you tell viewers how they can support your organization financially?
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me to your set. And I would like, with your missions, to pay a warm tribute to all those who work hard for the promotions and protections of human rights, especially women's rights. This struggle is the fight of all. No one must stay away from this fight to deliver the woman of gender-based violence in the world, especially in Africa, in Sahel, Sahelo-Saharan regions. This is why JDWS, Justice and Dignity for the Women of Sahel, has conducted and continue to conduct extensively awareness raising, sensitization, and advocacy campaign to put an end to the terrifying violence against women and the girl forever and for good. It's also an opportunity for me to launch a vibrant appeal accompanied by a heartfelt cry to all donors, technical and financial partners, to commit more to better mobilize human, financially, and resources for a holistic, effective, and efficient fight against gender-based violence. I cannot conclude without informing all citizens of the official launch of the platform. We are right now working, we have finished a platform we call it's called d.o.m.e.s.t.i.q.u.e. d.o.m.e.s.t.i.q.u.e. It's a word in African dialect, Fulani. So d.o.m.e.s.t.i.q.u.e. it means protection. So the platform's name, it's d.o.m.e.s.t.i.q.u.e. So we are right now, we're gonna be launching it. So it will, what's the platform will do? This will be only for the African sections of JDWS, because in Africa, in the Sahelo-Saharan region, we have a fight going on. We have political unrest. We have a lot abusing. So who say fight, who say war, says who are the first victims? They are, kids and the women. Yeah. So through this platform, we're gonna be, people can go and alert us about the situation. They can do it either anonymously or they can do it openly by telling us who they are. So they will tell us all the minimum informations, and then we will, because we will refer, we treat the alert and we will refer them to the appropriate gender-based violence partner that we work with. So in Africa, we have several countries that have a few of what we call one-stop center. So they have this one-stop center. They have all the services, combined services that a gender-based violence survival may need. We're talking about medical support. We're talking about judicial support. We're talking about protection. We're talking about shelter. We're talking about all kind of holistic approach. So not all the countries have that. The few, and not all the cities have that, especially the cities in the conflict area don't have it. So we just have a call. We can have a direct survival to a center. This is how important it is for us to get support, because not only for this platform to be very efficient and help us to identify and to have survival coming, and because it's a taboo, it's difficult when you are in a situation, who to talk, where to go, and who's gonna help. So the importance of this platform, it's being able to connect those survival to the services they might need. And the services, the services are very limited. The service providers are very limited. So the first thing, it's alerting and letting the survival know they can reach to us and we connect them. But the second, we will need support not only to develop this platform, to be able to have them talking instead of writing, because not everybody knows how to write. Everybody. I mean, we have it in 3 languages. We have it in French, Arabic, and English, but not everybody went to school. So we will we will need help to develop better these tools we are having, a wonderful tool we are having. So not only to develop that, but also to help the local providers to have a holistic approach and means to take care of the survival. We will we have been participating in Giving Tuesdays almost now 2 years. But
what's the date for that? Which date exactly?
It's November this year. It's every year, usually the first Tuesday of December, but this year it's on November 30th.
November 30th, which is Tuesday, right?
Tuesday. It's a Tuesday, November 30th. And the importance of the Giving Tuesday, people can still give us through the link through our website, which is www.jdws.sahel.org. But what's important of the Giving Tuesday, it's the match. The donor match wherever amount we receive. If it's $1, the match is $2. So for the 24 hours on November 30th, it's very important that everybody is participating, all the big and small organizations who are humanitarian organizations are participating in this. So it's very important to support a small and newly founded organization like ours. And we are all volunteer based. Nobody is being paid. We have been paying out of our pocket what we have been doing so far. And we have done a lot so far with the little mean we have. I'm just gonna quickly go through, like in Mali, so far we have taken care of 3 survival, and we have done 3 awareness activities, and at least 20 participants per activities. In Senegal, we have done 4 awareness activities on the ground, including at least 18 people. In Burkina Faso, we have done 3 activities, 2 training activities, and a debate including at least 20 people. Mauritania, we have 2 donations of equipment into the children hospital and equipment. In Niger, we are doing the awareness, and we have done a quick study of, so far on 2020, we have done a quick study of COVID, the effects of COVID GBVs, like a correlation of COVID and GBVs in the settings. So that was in 2020. That's what we have done so far. And we have a lot of projects in line trying to get organization or people or donor to support us to be able to fulfill these missions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Haidara. Ms. Stigliano, what would be
Miss WALATE.
WALATE, sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. WALATE, for the correction. Ms. Stigliano, based on what Ms. WALATE just said, what will be the final word that you will have regarding Tuesday, November 30, the Giving Tuesday? You know the importance of having the finance for those organizations to be able to run and help women that are still going through domestic violence situation. What will be the appeal that you will have for our viewer regarding Giving Tuesday?
Well, when I was 24 years old, I was taught that if you make God your partner in life and take care of his children, he'll take care of you. So at the age of 24, I started tithing. And I know I'm not under law, but it's a principle to give of your first fruits. So I have never, to the best of my knowledge, in all of these years, I don't believe I've ever failed. And even when I didn't have enough money to put food on my table, and that is the truth, I always gave off my gross. And I'm not somebody who, you know, I'm more generous than I am trying to go, okay, I just gave my 10%. No. And when God puts people in front of me, I always assume that's who he wants me to help. I mean, I kind of walk with him on it. I say all this to say that all of these women who are struggling in domestic violence and are participating in this on whatever level, that they should sow into it, because the very thing that they want and the help that they want, if they support an organization like this that's trying to help them or help other women, they're sowing seed and they will reap a harvest. It may not come from that organization, but they will reap a harvest. So I am just a living testimony that God will always provide for you. And that's a great security. It's a great security because I have never failed, and I do completely rely on him to take care of my daughter and to take care of my grandson and myself. And he has prospered me immensely because there's just the principle of sowing and reaping. And I have a garden in the backyard, and every seed I've sown, I've never just seen one fruit come up. I see tons. And so with this organization supporting the means to rescue and help people out of domestic violence, if that's the very thing that you want for your own life, give into it, and you'll see what God will do for you. It's just a principle that is God's principle of life. So I totally support what IDA is doing, and I would be very happy to help her. Very happy to help her.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Stigliano, for your call for giving. And again, as a reminder, Giving Tuesday is in 2 days. That's the reason why we are releasing the talk show today, just to get you prepared. And again, this is a great opportunity for somebody who loves to give, to be able to do more. For instance, if you give 20, that would be matched to, and it will be $40 that the organization will receive. And that is awesome, because I think, you know, it can help you even to give to JWS, JDWS, and also other organizations. Because we also believe in what you are doing. We are a nonprofit. We also need funding, but we also believe in giving, just like Ms. Stigliano said. So the Leadership Excellence for Women by Women will also be glad on Tuesday, November 3rd, Giving Tuesday to make a donation of $150. That will double to $300. And we believe that if we all come together, whether it's $2 that you give, $5, $20, $1,000, when you put it together, it can change so many lives.
Thank you. And I would like to add quickly that we provide the tax write-offs because we are 501c corporations. So we will provide that for whomever is giving who needs it. And
this
that
is
will
awesome.
That's directly once you get the receipt, you will have choice to download our 501c approval letter for you to use it if you need it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And again, we really want to thank you, Miss Haidara, and sorry, I keep saying Miss Haidara, Miss OUALATE and Miss STIGLIANO for taking time, and even Mr. Haidara, he has to leave, but we are very grateful of what you share with us today. And I hope it won't be the last time that we will have you on the show. Before we leave, I just want to leave all the viewer with this information that I'm going to share. I want to leave you with some of this information. Progress on domestic violence requires dealing with facets of indifference, politics, money, priorities, and culpability. Coordinated community response to hold abusers accountable and offer paths to change for offenders and victims. It also involves more than anger management classes because the power dynamics at the core of domestic violence don't shift overnight. It requires investment in education, training, counseling, crisis intervention, law enforcement, judicial reform, housing, and substance abuse. In reality, the options of staying or going carried risk. If communities don't stop blaming survivor and make access to crisis assistance a reality, the abuse of intimate partner will never be brought under control. If batterers don't get professional help to change their mindsets, police barricades at murder scene will keep going up. Never forget that your life and that of your loved one is precious. Remember, you can always call 911 if anyone is hurting you or threatening to hurt you. Miss STIGLIANO talked about this. It is not your fault. There are potential consequences for the abuser, such as arrest, conviction for domestic violence, and even immigrant for deportation. But remember, it was the abuser who took the action that resulted in you or your loved one needing to call the police for protection. If you do call the police and they respond in an appropriate manner, such as ignoring your call for help, consider consulting with your local domestic violence agency. And again, I will be leaving all the contacts, the phone number to call in such a case. I'm going to leave you with some statistics here on domestic violence. According to the U.S. Advisory Board on Child Abuse and Neglect, domestic violence may be the single major precursor to fatalities from child abuse and neglect in the U.S. Women aged 18 to 24 and 25 to 34 generally experience the highest rate of intimate partner violence. Women in the U.S. are 11 times more likely to be killed with guns than women in other high-income countries. Precious women of valor, you do not want to be a statistic. You do not want your children to be a statistic. This is my final word for today. Thank you so much for staying with us. And we hope to come back to you again with another talk show on how to know the 4 sins of domestic violence, how to prevent domestic violence, and how to stop domestic violence. Thank you so much for your time and have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.